I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Operation Freedom Health and Wellness series featuring Dr. Peter Gladden, the top naturopathic physician in our country, a fantastic researcher, a phenomenal author. His two books are must read if you can get a hold of them. They've tried everything in their power to make sure you can't get them. Everybody is sick and I know why. An attempt to cure with holistic medicine. This series is, as I've mentioned before, bears repeating, is despised by big pharma, big medicine, like the AMA, big insurance. Why? Well, if you follow what Dr. Gladden and I discuss throughout the last 5 years in these presentations, the likelihood is it'll keep you out of the medical industrial complex system. You won't go in the hospital. I'm sure you'll go see a doc, but maybe just for a wellness check. And it'll keep you out of buying pharmaceutical products because you're not sick. Which is why they despise us, which actually is a feather in both of our caps. They want a naturopathic physician, Dr. Gladden, and an allopathic physician, Janda, retired orthopedic surgeon, MD. They want us to be doing this, fighting, head banging, as opposed to getting along, finding common ground, and presenting information to you to empower you and in the process make you healthier and safer. Dr. Gladden's website, leavebigpharmabehind.com, has a wealth of information. The information we discussed today, you can also find at operationfreedomhealth.com. And a free video that Dr. Gladden has done called The 12 Bad Foods that you need to watch that video as a foundation for your health and wellness. The products we discuss, full disclosure, purchase of the products on operationfreedomhealth.com does support this platform. It is my honor to welcome back Dr. Peter Gladden. Pete, welcome back.
David, the fight continues.
That it does. Okay, Pete, let's go right at it. Selenium. People hear selenium. Well, some people hear about selenium. Let's talk about the power of selenium because it is a very powerful entity.
Yeah, selenium. There was a very famous guy in biomedical research. His name was Gerhard Schrauzer. He worked for the University of UCLA, I think, University of California in LA. He's world-renowned molecular biologist, and he was the world's leading expert on selenium. And he discovered so much about selenium, it's not even funny. There's so much that I could tell you about the essential nutrient selenium. I mean, I could talk about selenium for hours, but I'm going to give you the cliff notes here. So selenium is a mineral.
Mm-hmm.
Body cannot make it. Body needs it, can't make it. Therefore, it is an essential nutrient. And that was discovered in the 1950s. And when it was discovered as an essential nutrient, it sent a kind of a shockwave through the pseudo-scientific community at the time, because everybody was of the opinion, because of bad FDA research, that selenium was toxic and that it shouldn't be used. Selenium is in fact toxic, just like oxygen, just like water, just like alcohol, just like anything else if you take too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult to hurt yourself dosing on selenium, but for some reason that urban legend continues even today.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it was proven in the 50s that selenium is in fact an essential nutrient. Your body needs it. Really interesting fun facts to know and tell about selenium. There was an illness in China, in Kaishan province, called Kaishan's disease, where it was cardiomyopathy of people that lived in that part of China. And everybody thought it was genetic until my colleague Dr. Wallach went there and did research, and he discovered that, well, lo and behold, Kaishan disease is a selenium deficiency disease, because in the soil in Kaishan province there was zero selenium. So everybody that grew up in Kaishan province was deficient in selenium from the moment of conception and they were all born with Cashon's disease, which was caused by, then their hearts became enlarged, caused all kinds of problems. And it was a selenium deficiency. And interestingly enough, when you supplement those people with selenium, it goes away. The heart resumes its normal size. The Germans also discovered a cardiomyopathy related to selenium right before World War II. You know, they were trying to create the Uber race.
Right.
And they were way ahead of the rest of the world as far as athletics goes and exercise science and all of that. Well, they discovered that their athletes, who they worked like dogs, many of them developed something called athlete's heart, which was cardiomyopathy. Their hearts became enlarged.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
And lo and behold, caused by a selenium deficiency. You give these people selenium, and guess what? The heart goes back to its normal size. The guy that did the research in Cashon disease is the same guy that formulated the longevity products, Dr. Joel Wallach. And he was involved with a $25 million research project in the 1980s. And he did tens of thousands of autopsies on animals and humans. And he was working at Yerkes Primate Research Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And he proved unequivocally, with the scientific method, repeatable, that cystic fibrosis, and he did this with rhesus monkeys, laboratory monkeys, that cystic fibrosis was caused by a selenium deficiency in the blood of the pregnant mother monkey. So he would take a batch of pregnant monkeys and he would give them diets that had no selenium in it. Their babies were born with cystic fibrosis. He'd take the same mothers, give them food that was high in selenium. The next batch of babies, zero cystic fibrosis. Wallach proved it. This was in the 80s. And when he brought his research forward, Yerkes Primate Research Center fired him. And he was blackballed from the research community because back in those days, the idea that a nutrient could influence a supposedly genetic illness was heresy. It's like, you know, what are you talking about, Galileo? The sun is not at the center of the universe. It's the earth. Everybody can see that. It was like that. So remember, these are the cliff notes, right? And now everybody knows that the body has a police department, which is the immune system. But very few people know that the body has a fire department, which is in charge of putting out the fires of inflammation, most of which are caused by the introduction of free radicals into the human body, which is basically an oxygen atom that has lost an electron. It's called a free radical, and when free radicals are in your blood, it's a big bad voodoo daddy. Because they've lost an electron, they stick to, they're like metabolic Velcro. They'll stick to anything, and whatever they stick to becomes oxidized. And when something becomes oxidized, it becomes destroyed. So the body, in its wisdom, has a lot of different mechanisms that neutralize these oxygen radicals. And the captain of the fire department of the human body is a biochemical called glutathione. Glutathione is a super antioxidant, and it neutralizes free radicals. That's what antioxidants do. Selenium recycles glutathione so it can be used again. So, I mean, it's like the firemen, this doesn't happen, but this would be an accurate metaphor. The firemen go to a house that's on fire, they hook the hose up to the hydrant, they squirt the water on the fire, and they've got a trough around the house that catches all the water and recycles it back into the fire hose. That would be what it would be like. Selenium is super important for your body to be able to fight the inflammation, which is a normal part of life. And by the way, the people that live in the blue zones all around the world, indigenous people that live to be over 100 and they're healthy without any medical care, one of the things that they all had in common was they were consuming on a daily basis something, whether it was a sweet potato grown in volcanic soil or chocolate that was manufactured or that was made from cacao beans that were growing in copper-rich soil, minerally rich soil, or a wine or beer that they made was really, really high in antioxidants. So one of the secrets to longevity is consuming a lot of antioxidants every day. And if you're taking selenium at the same time, it's like doubling your investment, because the selenium will help the antioxidants to work more efficiently and more effectively. In the animal kingdom, animals with the most acute eyesight have the highest concentration of selenium in their eyes. So selenium is very important for eye health. Selenium is also super important for the health of the liver. There have been all kinds of studies with fatty liver and liver disease. And when you add intravenous selenium to these patients, the liver gets better much faster. It's a gift that keeps on giving. I think the probably one of the things that hits home the most about selenium is its necessity for proper thyroid functioning. So the thyroid makes a lot of different things, but there are two hormones that the thyroid produces that everybody knows about: thyroid hormone 3 and thyroid hormone 4. The body turns thyroid 4, T4, into thyroid 3. And thyroid 3 is the preferred thyroid hormone that the body uses to get everything done. In order to turn T4 into T3, guess what the body needs?
Selenium.
Selenium. If you don't have it, you're going to have a wonky thyroid, not because you have a bad gene, not because of chemtrails, not because you're getting older, but because you just didn't have enough selenium. So now remember, selenium is one nutrient out of 90 which are essential to the human body. And if selenium is responsible for all of these things happening in the body, what do you think about all the other nutrients? Equally as responsible. This is why when we give the foundation pack, which includes selenium, plus the other 89 essential nutrients, we have an 83% success rate. We've given this program to 10,000 people, more or less, over 9 years, more or less, and 83% of them, 8,300 out of 10,000, recovered, just like you did. And that's a huge number.
It's enormous.
Why does that happen? Well, because number one, the body knows how to fix itself. Number two, the body wants to fix itself. Number three, the body's trying to fix itself. But number four, the body needs help. What does the body need? How about that?
Celebrate.
Celebrate. Body needs selenium plus 89 other nutrients. And when you give your body everything that it needs in doses that you can actually absorb, which are covered by the Healthy Foundation Pack, then your body fixes itself to the ability that it is able to. And it's a remarkable thing. And again, science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition is arguably the best kept secret in modern medicine. You know, I heard Robert Kennedy Jr. going on the stump saying that when he's president, he's going to make it his job to end chronic disease. And so that's great. What is he a senator? What is he?
No, he's a lawyer. He's not. He doesn't hold political office.
All right, so that's great, Mr. Kennedy. Here's what you need to do in order to end the chronic disease epidemic in the United States. You need to have a free medical market.
Yep.
You need to rework the charter for the Food and Drug Administration.
Yep.
And you need to give alternative, quote unquote, medical practitioners an equal say with everything else. And you need to remove the ridiculous law that the only thing that can treat a disease in the United States is a drug. If we had a free medical market, which we haven't had for over 100 years, we wouldn't have chronic disease.
No, we wouldn't. That's absolutely right, Pete.
The reason that we do is because, a patient cured is a customer lost. And the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want to have none of that going on.
No, it's all about the dinero with them.
I just learned something yesterday. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a historian He said, everybody thinks that the Food and Drug Administration is corrupt. And I said, well, they are. And he said, no, they're not. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, their charter was and is to protect the people that make the food and the people that make the drug.
Mm-hmm.
Because those were considered national security interests, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing a wonderful job at protecting the people who make the drug. Because even when the drugs kill people, nothing happens. So that was kind of an eye-opener to me. So, there is I would also argue that there's a remarkable amount of corruption
mm-hmm.
that goes on there. But nonetheless, it needs to be, the Food and Drug Administration needs to be completely revamped from top to bottom. The insurance industry needs to be completely revamped from top to bottom. And the Zen sword that will cut through all of this nonsense is just to put in a constitutional amendment that we have a free medical market. That if you're a licensed physician, whatever you are, you're an acupuncturist, you're an Ayurvedic, you're whatever the heck you are.
Yep.
You have the same rights as the MDs, the same insurance coverage as the MDs, the same hospital privileges, the same everything. Medicine would change in 5 years.
If not quicker.
If that happened.
So, Pete, foundation pack, there are 4 components to it. Educate our listeners on the 4 components. Information on the foundation pack is available at operationfreedomhealth.com. The 4 components, Pete?
It's a multivitamin, multi-mineral, antioxidant, mushroom blend. It's a really wonderful formula called Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Mm-hmm. Component number 2 is a liquid calcium and magnesium supplement. It's the most effective, most absorbable calcium supplement I've ever seen. And absorbability in calcium supplements is a really big deal.
It's huge.
Plant-derived minerals is the 3rd component, arguably the most important component, because that one bottle, which is I think $25 for 1 month, gives you 66% of your body's nutrient needs in absorbable organic formulas that your body can suck up like, a sponge sucks up water. And the 4th is essential fatty acids, fish oil, in a gelatin cap, squirted into the gelatin cap under a nitrogen blanket so no air gets in it so it doesn't oxidize.
And we have that available on operationfreedomhealth.com. Those are the 4 components under foundation pack right there toward the middle of the homepage. Now, Pete, selenium. We also have selenium base at operationfreedomhealth.com. So the question is, how much selenium should people take?
Well, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how much of the foundation pack somebody should take. Nobody knows how much water somebody should drink.
Yeah, right.
Nobody knows how many calories somebody should eat. Nobody knows how many carbs you should eat. Nobody knows how much protein you should eat. Nobody knows if dairy is good or if dairy is bad. It's all a crap show brought to you by the pharmaceutical industry. Because again, this is from the Department of Redundancy Department, if we'd actually had a free medical market where good and valid research was being done, these questions would have been answered 50 years ago.
Right. But they're not.
This isn't rocket science or stupidly, ridiculously hard to figure out. It's not. It's just not apropos for this socioeconomic political climate inside of a monopolized, self-policing, self-regulating medical profession. There's no room for this, boys. Well, what do we want to be talking about curing people for? Give me a break. I'm not going to do that. So I can't tell you how much to take, but here's what I can tell you, what you should do, what people should do. And every time you find yourself doing this, you want to just get a little more angry at Big Pharma, and that would be apropos. So you start somewhere. I would start with 1 bottle of each of these per month.
Of the 4?
Yep. Yeah, so one healthy foundation pack per month. Plus eliminate the 12 bad foods, right? Which is on the website. It's free information. You do these 2 things for 8 weeks. Eliminate the 12 bad foods. Take one healthy foundation pack into your body every month. Do that for 2 months. Then on month number 3, you double the healthy foundation pack. You get basically 2 healthy foundation packs for that month. You take that much of the foundation pack every day so that it's all gone at the end of a month. And then you compare how you felt on the initial dose compared to the increased dose. Mm-hmm. And you can do the same thing, by the way, with the selenium. Mm-hmm. So you do the healthy foundation pack for 2 months, and then you get 1 bottle of selenium. You take 1 selenium 3 times a day between meals for 4 weeks, see how it makes you feel, and then double it. 2 selenium 3 times a day between meals for 4 weeks, see if you notice a difference. Now, selenium is interesting because when you start to take too much selenium, you will get noticeable side effects of that. And these side effects are like the canary in the coal mine, which dies way before the gas levels get toxic for humans, right? So if you start to develop these symptoms, it means you're taking too much selenium. You just need to back off by half, and the symptoms most invariably will go away, and then you maintain that dosage. So the symptoms of your body taking too much selenium, mm-hmm. your breath gets fishy or garlicky. You're not going to notice that, but your significant other will. Mm-hmm. Your fingernails start to crack or peel easily, uncharacteristically, and or your hair gets dry and brittle. If any of those 3 things happen, it means, well, I'm going to back off on my selenium. But just back off on the selenium, the symptoms will go away, and then you're good to go. But regretfully, that's the only way to know.
So, Pete, foods that are high in selenium content that has been found over time.
Yeah, there aren't any.
and that's the point, because many people say, I eat healthy. I eat a organic diet. I've done some research, and these food products have higher concentrations of selenium than other food products. But the bottom line is, we know from over 100 years ago of information that was presented to Congress that they didn't act upon. 100 years ago, our soil was depleted of these nutrients, and it's only worse today. So the business where people go, well, I'm just going to eat more of this or that because it has supposedly a higher concentration, in this case of selenium, and I'll be fine. No, that won't cut it, will it, Pete?
It won't. I mean, it's just lack of education and, urban mythology, and people just haven't thought it through. Brazil nuts are historically a food that's really high in selenium, and it's correct that the Brazil nut tree will concentrate selenium, but the Brazil nut tree cannot make selenium.
Comes from the soil.
It's not in the soil. It's not in the nut.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And I've done hundreds of presentations over the years all around the world, and I show a map of that was developed by the United States Department of Agriculture of selenium deposits in the topsoil in the United States. Mm-hmm. And it's just a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here and a little bit there. And it's, if you're growing food that's not there, there's no selenium in your food, period. It's zero.
The tree can't concentrate selenium if it's not in the dirt to begin with.
Yeah, and nobody knows, and we should have all been taught this in high school. I mean, this is elementary, right?
We're not even taught that in allopathic medical school, for God's sake, Pete.
I mean, if plants could make minerals, gold would be worthless.
Yeah.
Because we could bioengineer lettuce to make gold.
Yeah.
Right? So if plants can't make minerals, animals can't make minerals. Mineral, not a vitamin, not a fatty acid, a mineral, which are 66% of your body's needs, only come from the soil. And guess what? They're not there. And that's one of the major reasons why everybody is getting sick. It's because you're growing up in a body which is minerally deficient. Like, not enough selenium, your liver gets funky. Mm-hmm. Not enough selenium, your eyes get funky. Not enough selenium, your heart gets funky. Oh, don't worry, we can give you the chimpanzee heart. There's no problem. Don't worry, we can put you on the list for the liver transplant. No problem. Oh, don't worry, we'll just take your thyroid out and we'll give you thyroid meds for the rest of your life. No problem, we've got you covered. This is nuts. But this is what passes for the best medicine in the world, and it's a travesty of biblical proportion.
Well, and another travesty is that many people want to do the right thing, but they say, I cannot afford to do it. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, you got to find a way to afford to do it because it's the best investment you can make. Now, one of the things that we've done to try to help in this day and age of stagflation, courtesy of the banksters and the political puppets, is we on OperationFreedomHealth.com are trying to make it more affordable for folks. So if they use the coupon code when they check out of Freedom, they get 10% off in their entire order. 10% off the entire order at OperationFreedomHealth.com. Coupon code is Freedom. That's what we're trying to do to help folks. We have further information at OperationFreedomHealth.com. Now, Dr. Gladden has a website that he is the guru of, the founder, and it just does a phenomenal job with extensive information and holds regular seminars for those that subscribe at leavebigpharmabehind.com. Educate our listeners on that site, Pete.
Well, the deal with my information on my website, that's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it, Dave? Leave Big Pharma behind.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they hate it, but that's perfect.
You should have told that to the guys that were poking you in the chest who were telling you to sell more Vioxx.
Yeah, right. I told them something different than that. It wasn't as diplomatic as leave Big Pharma behind. I told them where to stuff their operation where the sun doesn't shine. But go ahead, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as a licensed naturopathic physician with 35 years of clinical experience, I've seen a thing or two. My colleagues have seen a thing or two. And the information that I've put together on my website is a culmination of all of that. It's clinically verified therapeutic interventions that you can employ from the comfort of your own home, no private appointment necessary, to get your body into the game of healing. Mm-hmm. And like we were talking about before, I mean, 83% of the people who just did the foundation pack, that's all they did. Mm-hmm. They didn't do any extra anything, just the foundation pack, had a complete reversal of whatever their chief complaint was, whatever it was. It went away. So how is this possible? Well, because guess what? Your body wants to fix itself, and there are trained physicians in the world who know these things and who have been developing and delivering these therapeutics for collectively thousands of years. Mm-hmm. But we're not in the mainstream because of Big Pharma. So this information it's my life preserver for the world. Look, here's what works clinically most of the time. I mean, nothing's guaranteed. I can't guarantee this is going to work 100% of the time. But if I were you, you've been diagnosed with arthritis. I'm sorry to hear that. Here's what I would do. Mm-hmm. Oh, you've got high blood pressure. I'm sorry to hear that. Those blood pressure meds aren't going to help you over. That's a bad recipe over time. Here, try this. Mm-hmm. And it's like that. It's just clinically verified self-help health recovery information from the horse's mouth. And it's a wonderful thing. I have live Q&As for my subscribers twice a week. We get remarkable testimonials most of the time. People come for the content, but they stay for the community. Honestly, if you're not a subscriber, you don't know what you're missing. It's really good information, and I look forward to seeing you there on my next live Q&A.
That was an Uncle Sam moment.
It really was.
That was nice. OperationFreedomHealth.com and LeaveBigPharmaBehind.com. Pete, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. Look at the fireworks. Outstanding.
Thank you, Dave.
And thank you, folks, for joining us. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.